All right, today we're going to talk about proportions. The book has two sections on proportions. One's if you're finding it, if it's proportional. The next one is solving proportions. I don't feel like I need to spend the whole day on seeing if it's proportional or not. So we're going to combine the two lessons. The first one is just proportions. Two quantities are proportional if they have a constant ratio. So what you do is they'll give you a couple ratios and you'll compare them to see if they're same. If they're the same ratio, if they're constant, then it's proportional. If not, it's no. Write this down. So you look at this ratio, they give you ratio of coffee in pounds to cost. What we do is we look at the first ratio, that's usually the smallest one. We look to see if it's broken down to 1. In this case it is. I can't reduce this anymore, can I? So what we do is we look at the next 3 or 4, however many it is, and see if it breaks down to 1/3 as well. If it does, then the whole thing is proportional. If it doesn't, if one is wrong, then it's not proportional, because they all have to be proportional. So I can reduce 2 by 2 and get 1, and 6 by... Yes, ma'am.
Could you please...
So this is 1/3, equal to this. So now I check the rest. I can divide 3 by 3 and get 1, 9 by 3 and get 3. Hey, that's 1/3 as well. But you have to do all of them, because if one is wrong, the whole thing's wrong. I can take 4 out of 4 and get 1, and 4 out of 12 and get 3. So this is proportional. Now it'll say explain. So I require at least one sentence explaining if this is proportional or not. If it is, this is what I would say. For every 1 pound of coffee, it costs $3. One complete sentence explaining a proportion. Because for every pound of coffee, it is $3. 1 was 3, 2 was 6, 3 was 9. Alright, so for every pound of coffee you got, it was $3. So what we need to do is we need to look and see if all of these ratios break down to 1/50. 1/50 is the smallest it can be because the top number is 1. You can't reduce that anymore. So I go through and I reduce 2 by 2 and get 1. I reduce 70 by 2, I get 35. Which does not reduce to 50. This is not proportional, so the whole thing's not proportional. So you would say the time is not proportional to the distance. And that's all that's required. Now before we asked, is this proportional? That's what we were trying to find. On this section, everything's going to be proportional. That's what it means by the equal sign. These two are proportional. A over B is proportional to C over D. The rule here is saying if A over B is proportional to C over D, you can cross multiply and A over D is equal to B over C. That's the rule. You're going to use that to solve problems like this. Write this down. So what we do, we're told that B over 15 is equal to 66 over 90. So we cross multiply. B times 90 is equal to 66 times 15. 66 times 15 is 990. 90B, we know how to do that. We divide by 90 since we're timesing by 90. B is equal to 11. Now I can check this. Okay, I plug in 11 for B and I see if 66 over 90 reduces to 11 over 15. Which if I take 6 out of 66, I get 11. If I take 6 out of 90, I get 15. So that's why B had to be 11. So there's my answer. Write this down. 7 over 14 is equal to C over 12. C is one number, and that number would make it true. So what I do is I cross multiply. 7 times 12 is equal to 14 times C. 84 is equal to 14 times C. I'm trying to get C by itself, so I would divide by 14. 84 divided by 14 is 6. I can check my answer by plugging in 6 right here. And I can reduce 6 over 12 to 1/2. I can also reduce 7 over 14 to 1/2 as well. So 6 is the only number that could work here. Alright, it says the wait time to ride a roller coaster is 20 minutes, 160 people are in line. At this rate, how long is the wait time when 220 people are in line? What I do is I set up minutes over people. And I do the first ratio. It's 20 minutes with 160 people. That's going to be equal to X amount of time over 220 people. X is what I'm trying to find. It's the wait time. I need to know what it is when there's 220 people in line. These are proportional. So all I have to do is cross multiply. 20 times 220 is 4,400. And that's equal to 160x. So now I just divide by 160. X is equal to, it is 27.5 minutes.
Homework.
Here's your homework assignment.